Okay, so we are doing a note-taking guide on point slope form, and we're going to do an application example and develop some strategies for solving word problems with point slope form. So first of all, I want to give you 3 steps, and actually I'm going to add a 4th on your note-taking guide. You probably have a 4 there as well. And so the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to identify 2 points in our problem. So 2 points meaning 2 ordered pairs. Number 2, we are then going to define 2 variables. And those 2 variables may be x and y. I encourage you to write them as an ordered pair so you remember which one is first and which one's second, or independent and dependent. And then third, we are going to, like we did yesterday, we are going to use the 2 points from step 1 to find the slope and write the equation in point slope form. And number 4, this is if the problem asks. The example we will do, I will ask you to do this. And eventually, at some point later on in the chapter, we will also be doing this. If necessary, so I'm going to write, if asked, rewrite in slope intercept form. And that just involves the distributive property. The reason we do this is because there is significance in what the slope and the y-intercept mean in a word problem. Alright, so this is our example. So I have my 2 points. It says when the Gonzalez family's new kitten is 6 weeks old, it weighs 8 ounces. I'm going to underline that. And when it was 10 weeks old, it weighed 10 ounces. Write a linear equation to model the kitten's weight in terms of the kitten's age. And so actually I'll have to head to these 2 points here. The weight most likely depends on the age, if you think about that with something that has just been born, like a baby or a kitten. The older it gets, typically, especially in the beginning of its life, it's going to gain weight. So I'm going to write here for my 2 points, 6 weeks, 8 ounces. And so that's this point here. And 10 weeks, 10 ounces. Which means that X is going to represent the kitten's age in weeks. And then Y will represent the kitten's weight in ounces. If you would prefer, you could have also used, different variables like A for age and W for weight. Or I guess you could also use W for weeks and O for ounces. Okay, so to find point slope form, like yesterday, since I have 2 points, the first thing I'm going to do is find the slope. And to find the slope, I find the change in the y's over the change in the x's. Or y2 minus y1, so that's 10 minus 8, over x2 minus x1. I guess I'll do that in a different color. So this is x2 and x1, which would be 10 minus 6. Alright, so 10 minus 8 is 2. 10 minus 6 is 4, which reduces to 1/2. So now I found the slope. I'm going to put that in point slope form. And if you recall, you might want to write point slope form down again. Point slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1, where x sub 1, y sub 1 is a point, and m is our slope. So we can put that off to the side here, just to remind us of that. So in this case, we can pick either of our points. It does not matter. I'm going to just choose the first point. Its x-coordinate is 6, so it will go into the formula for x sub 1. And the y-coordinate is 8, so it will go into the formula for y sub 1. So then I have y minus 8 equals 1/2 x minus 6. And I'm going to box that because that is my equation in point slope form, which is what I was asking you to do in this first part. Yesterday, or on the first day of this lesson, we talked about how you can rearrange this to get slope-intercept form. And so slope-intercept form is the form I'll put over here to the side again, y equals mx plus b. Okay, where m is the slope again and b is the y-intercept. Alright, so as I'm doing this, all I would need to do is distribute this 1/2. So I am going to do that. On the left side, I still have y minus 8 equals. When I distribute this 1/2, 1/2 times x would give me 1/2 x. And then 1/2 times a negative 6. 1/2 times a negative 6 would give me a negative 3. And finally, I would need y alone. And to get y alone, I would simply add this 8 to both sides. What this gives me then, for my slope-intercept form, is y equals 1/2 x, and negative 3 plus 8 would be plus 5. And so I'm going to box that answer. That would be my equation in slope-intercept form. Okay. So let's, in this problem, interpret what the slope means. First of all, remember the y is the weight in ounces and the x is the age in weeks. So if we were talking about slope as change in y's and change in x's, it means that it's going to be the change in weight over the change in weeks. So in this case, the slope was 1/2. So its change in weight was 1/2 of an ounce per week, or you could say 1 ounce per 2 weeks if you wanted to, because the 1 is on top and the 2 is on the bottom. But I will write 1/2 of an ounce per week is the rate at which the kitten grows. Alright, so I'm running out of room here. 1/2 ounce per week is the rate at which the kitten grows. And B, hopefully you remember from back when we did slope-intercept form, is the y-intercept, which means that it's our initial value. So this would be at week 0, which would be when the kitten was born. I mean, graphically, it would look like that. So the interpretation of the y-intercept is it's 5, and this would mean that the kitten weighed 5 ounces when it was born. Okay. So that would be our interpretation of the slope and the y-intercept. And from there, we've learned to graph. I'm not going to spend time on this specific example graphing, but to summarize, we would start our line at 5 and then make a rise over run of 1/2. So I would go up 1 and to the right 2 to find more points. So that concludes our note-taking guide for 6-5 Day 2, Applications of Point Slope Form.